On the subject of Andy Lack, why don't you forgive him?
Well, he never apologized to me. I called him once and I was like, just apologize to me, you lethal little snake. Noah did. 6 months after I got fired, Noah Oppenheim, we were talking on the phone, and he said, if you never forgive me, I understand. I'm so sorry. It wasn't supposed to go down like that. Okay, I forgive you. We're imperfect people. Good people are capable of doing bad things everywhere. I'm capable of doing bad things. You too. But if you own up, you apologize, you're good by me because I'm the most imperfect. Andy Lack, so dismissive. He talked to me for like 7 seconds on the phone. Yeah, sorry, can't help. Yeah, I don't care. And literally, I was speaking to the former president of MSNBC back in June, and told me during that time, he said, hey, what are you going to do about Billy Bush? You gotta save Billy. He's a good guy. He didn't do anything here. This isn't him. And he said, fuck Billy Bush. And that was relayed to me by the former president of MSNBC, like I didn't matter. And, this is a man who saved Brian Williams, brought him back, gave him the 11th hour, or whatever you call it, did his best to save Matt till he couldn't. But F Billy Bush? Like, okay, well, F you too, buddy.
Yeah, exactly right. So he wound up getting fired from NBC too. Is it true he's at PBS now?
That's what I heard. I heard he's an executive producer at PBS, and good for them. They've got one of the true derelicts of our time, a really bad guy.
Totally agree.
Bad guy.
I think Brian Friedman
I like to say that. I'm a nice
agree.
person. I'm a nice person. I like people. I accept faults and all that. But he's a bad guy, like a really bad guy.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like, where's the responsibility that these executives get for taking top talent like you and not just like firing them, but absolutely trying to ruin them, absolutely trying to devastate them, to the point where I heard you say to Tucker, you actually had suicidal ideations. Like it's serious. What they do, it's serious.
One moment, there was lots of emotional instability. I will say that it led me to this place called the Hoffman Process, which I did 9 days, no electronics, in a cabin with, people, and it's like a trauma place, but it's the mental, emotional, psychological trauma of all of a sudden, because it happens thanks to the internet, like this. I literally, Friday morning, October 7, 2016, I did a double because Hoda Kotb loved working with me so much. She was like, I don't want any more guest hosts on Friday when Kathy's not here. I only want Billy. Just let him do 2 hours in a row. And they put me in man Spanx, and I'm dancing in man Spanx, and we're having laughs, and it's wonderful. Ha, 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 network, funny, whatever. And I kind of thought the whole thing was behind us. I had dealt with Andy. I told him this is illegal. It's the wrong thing to do. I felt like, okay. And off we go. It was like this, this beautiful moment. And then I'm on the plane flying home, and they're, Mr. Bush, please put your phone away. I'm like, I'm sorry. We're all addicted. I'm like, just one more text. And I hit one more text. And then, Mr. Bush, okay. And as I put it down, I see, boom. Washington Post, Access Hollywood bus tape. And I went, oh my God, they did it. They did it. They didn't do it on their own air. They didn't do it in their own organization. They did it through the Washington Post, because the debate with Hillary is 2 days later. And by hook or by crook, this is going to be the first topic on that stage. And we got to get it to someone, because now, forget about owning the property. Forget about getting all the clicks and having the big story and our organization winning the big story in the October surprise. It's more important that he loses the election. So let's get it to the Washington Post. Yeah.
So can you, because Doug and I have talked about this many times, and now obviously I'm great. I have nothing to complain about. But I do remember very acutely many nights lying in bed right after this happened with NBC and feeling so incredibly sad that my whole career was gone. It was evaporated in a day by those fuckers who, took this internet, whatever, it would have been a one-day Twitter story, and, rammed it up over and over. And even after it had died down, made a point of bringing it back up again. And I just remember being like, I can't believe this thing that was so important to me, that I worked for so long to build, is absolutely gone. And it took years.
Expendable. Yeah, you're that expendable. You realize, I will say, oh my God, when I was just starting as a little bushy-tailed, celebrity kiss ass on red carpets in New York as the East Coast correspondent, I was Matt Lauer. I reached out to Matt to get some advice, and like kiss his ass too, and went down to his office, and he said to me, let me tell you something about this business. This is so prophetic. I can't believe I'm remembering. He said, everybody is replaceable. You have to remember, everybody is replaceable. He said, someday you could replace me easily. And I said, and he's like, so just know that. And I was like, okay, think that way. In other words, prepare for these kinds of things. And I realized the reason the man hung on for 20 years, he knew it. He knew it.
Well, but don't you think it's one thing to say that and to know that? And it's quite another to say, okay, so they may replace me. I may not work out here, whatever. I may not be a good fit. But it's a different thing altogether to say they will
end your life,
ruin me. They will do everything in their power, these people who I trusted, to absolutely ruin me so that I can't make another dollar in this industry.
And then after the fact, planting stories everywhere in every paper that reinforce the idea that you're a bad guy. And so they look good for having gotten rid of a bad apple. That's the thing that even hurt afterwards. I'm like, what? I'm seeing the New York Post track down like a girl I allegedly bullied in 8th grade or said something mean to. I'm not kidding. And they're like, Billy Bush is just bad to women. He's just a bad guy to women. And I'm like, what? Every woman at the Today Show I had a terrific relationship with. There's two separate worlds, as you know, 7 to 9 and 9 to 11. In the 9 to 11 world, everything was wonderful, peachy, lovely. 7 to 9, get him out of here. He's not one of us. So that's the, that was the target for me.
Yeah. I mean, I can relate fully to all of that too. I've never had more awkward moments where I felt less welcome than when they'd have me go over on the Today Show set and go outside.
Threat.
Without exception, the only person who showed any kindness, as I said, was Kathy Lee, and without exception,
Kathy,
everybody else was just
and
you
Hoda,
could freeze ice on their ass.
Yeah, by the way, anyone who's a female at I think it's really the men that were really brutal. You may have a different experience as a female, but I found the women to be wonderful.
Well, I'll say this. There is one female associated with the show who pretended to be a friend of mine. And when the shit hit the fan, Doug actually reached out to this person's spouse because we knew them socially a bit and said, gee, it would be really nice if the woman could send out a tweet or something in support of Meg. And he said, oh, gee, I don't think she's going to do that. She doesn't want to go. Okay, fine. That was just Doug being protective. And we later were told, I can't say it's a matter of fact, but we were told by a very well-connected PR person that this spouse to whom Doug had reached out was busy pushing the story everywhere.
Oh, no.
So to Doug, oh, it's so sad. This is such bullshit. She's not going to tweet, but this is total bullshit. And meanwhile, this person was doing his level best to push the story everywhere that I was allegedly this horrible racist person. I mean, this industry is disgusting, and there are no more disgusting people than the hosts of those morning shows. They are and the hypocrisy is what's so gross about it, Billy.
It's one thing, not everyone.
O'Reilly,
not everyone.
You find out O'Reilly is irascible behind the scenes, you're like, it makes sense, right? Okay, fine.
I can see that, yeah.
Right? These people, it's like, They want you to think they're just so sweet and peachy keen.
Well, it's a very competitive atmosphere, and I maintain that in my experience, there are some very good people in it, but everyone knows, and it's mostly women, and but they know that's it's a super competitive environment. Sit down with Ashley Banfield sometime and ask her about her experiences. But in the end, if you can survive it long enough and see what things, I'm not wired to play this game. I'm not wired to, have a team of people who are angling to help me get someone else out of the way and all. I don't think like that. I think like, hey, I'm so happy to be here. We're all a team. And I guess in order to dominate and survive, you got to think like that, which I'm so glad I'm not there. Everything works out for the right reasons because I can't work like that. I feel sick.
Did you know that American homeowners nationwide have over $32 trillion in equity? And cyber criminals are targeting it with a growing scam the FBI calls house stealing. House alarms, doorbell cameras, deadbolts, dogs, they won't work against these thieves because they're not after your stuff, they're after your equity. If your title is not being monitored, scammers can transfer the title of your home into their name, then take out loans against it or even sell it behind your back. The best way to protect your equity is with triple lock protection from Home Title Lock. Triple lock protection is 24/7 monitoring and, God forbid, if the worst happens, restoration services at no out-of-pocket cost to you. When was the last time you checked on your title? Likely never, right? And that's exactly what scammers are counting on. Make sure you're not already a victim, and you can get a free title history report as well as a 30-day free trial of triple lock protection today by going to HometitleLock.com and using the promo code Megyn, or just click on the link in the description. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code Megyn, HometitleLock.com. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.